Hey, what's up? It's Elk. It's been a hot minute since I've done anything with this channel, so I figured I'd, do something. This video is gonna be fairly quick. I'm basically just gonna go over the basics of return tracks in Ableton, because it handles that a little bit differently from other software. Yeah. I've seen quite a bit of confusion with newer producers about it, so I figured, I'd share what knowledge I have. So I've got a guitar loop here from Golden Guitars, which is an old cymatics pack. This isn't sponsored or anything, just guitar loops are good for this purpose. This one happened to fit and wasn't too annoying. So as you can kind of hear, it's got a little bit of ambient reverb, but it's not a huge deal. So I've got two return tracks here. Alright, I've got this one, which has a reverb. This one has a delay. This is kind of the default layout. I'm using a convolution reverb instead of the default Ableton one, but that's just because I like the sound. It's a remake of one of the Valhalla reverb settings. I'm going to switch to arrangement view for this. Or, not arrangement, session. I hate terminology. Alright, the mixer. So, this is how a lot of people will see it, and it's a little bit easier to demonstrate, I guess, with knobs, just better visuals. So, the way the return tracks work is they take the signal from this track, they copy it, and they send it to this other track over here, usually, which has an effect on it. But they send it with a specific volume, which you set with this knob. If you look down in the bottom left, there's a number. It shows the actual setting. Or if I go into arrangement view, it obviously shows the number the way it does with the master volume. So, yeah, that's pretty straightforward, but basically, usually you're going to keep these set to master output, same as you do for this, unless you're sending to a bus, or a group rather. But the thing with returns is that they're a little bit, I guess you could say, finicky. With one sound playing, it's probably fine to just send it at full volume, right? If you only have one sound going to the bus, you might be better off just putting it on the channel. Depends on how you're trying to do it. If you're going to stem it out for remixes or something, the reverb's separate. But if you have multiple different sounds going to one effect and you want the effect to be the same, so it glues them together a little bit, that's when you use a return track. But since I only have one sound, I'm just going to put it at full and show you how it sounds. With returns, you usually want the effect to be 100% wet, because if it's not, you'll get, obviously half the wet sound, or part of the wet sound, and then also a duplicate of the dry signal, so it'll make it louder, right? So just, good rule of thumb, 100% wet effects. Here's what it sounds like with just the reverb. Alright, now, if I pulled this back to 50%, so it's on the same channel, or on the same track, this isn't FL Studio. This is how I would do it if it was just the one track, right? If it was just the one, like in an actual project, if I just had this guitar track that had this reverb on it, I just put it on there with a lower setting. But because it's a return, you put it up a little bit. Realistically, if you're mixing, you're not going to put it all the way at 0, you're going to put it like, I normally default to -16, so when the output signal, or when the signal goes into the return, it's pulled back. It has the gain pulled back by 16 decibels. Same thing with the delay. Delay I usually do like minus 12. It depends on what I'm doing, and it depends on the sound, of course. And so, yeah. Now, one last thing. There's not that much to talk about on this topic. You go to the actual return, and if you want to send it to another return track, so say I want to put, say I want to send B to A, you actually have to manually enable it. It's disabled by default, so you don't accidentally cause a feedback loop, which you can do. So that's about it.